Well, inspiration is part of SMB's principles. Of course, every morning we do inspire the business personnel out there and any person that is aspiring to definitely carry out any business out there. Of course, as we're heading into the weekend, it's quite very key and important to understand. And I know the week perhaps has caused quite some challenges here and there. We've seen quite so many incidents happening both in the economic, social and political sphere. But the question is, as an individual, what lesson do you actually pick from these particular experiences? I think that is the key discussion that ought to be looked into. And this is a personal question to you, that according to all these events that have happened in all these various spheres, what advantage am I taking for me to benefit from these very events? COVID-19 produced quite a huge number of multi-millionaires. Why? Because some people, despite what happened, they definitely did see a pandemic, but they rather saw an opportunity to actually find livelihood for themselves, and it transformed their entire lives. And that's why we have the business tips and quotes that are coming up right about now. Well, worry is definitely one of those obstacles, but especially when it comes to potential innovations that could actually transform the world. Like one of the writers said, that in the graveyard is where we find all sorts of ideas, innovations that perhaps the world never knew, and they were buried with people. Why? Because so many times when we are trying to do something, what comes in our minds is, what if it fails? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm taking a wrong path? What if I'm meeting the wrong partners? And when you approach life from that perspective, I can guarantee you there are no chances of being impactful. So you mentioned about a leap of faith. Faith is taken to be a superstitious kind of, can I say, subject, superstitious. But when you get to study part of the top entrepreneurs that have actually existed in the past world, talking about influential people. I remember, for the people of you, I'm going to give this example because it's actually very practical and it's very visible. Everyone is actually familiar with this example. For those of you that used to listen to Michael Jackson, the late Michael Jackson, who really revolutionized the pop music industry business. During an interview with part of his managers, because his managers partly managed the legendary Lionel Richie, and he was being asked the question that, why is it that every person that you manage, they somehow make it through life? Most especially when it comes to success in all various sectors. And of course, this gentleman said, I always tell them to work hard. Of course, that is what we are told every day. We've been studying in class, work hard. But on top of that, he mentioned something, but one of the key top advices I give to the people I manage is that despite all the hard work, all these efforts, take what we call learn to receive, learn to receive some of the surprises by grace. And of course, talking about grace has something to do with favor that you haven't worked for. Somebody gives you a favor simply because you deserve the favor, but not because of what you're actually doing. So how much more if you actually doing something? That's what he mentioned. So that's why in our business quote today, he mentioned sometimes we are worried to start because we are uncertain of the outcomes of what we're doing. But all we have to do is simply take what we call as a leap of faith. Once we do that, we shall definitely have what we desire. All right, now switching away from that, heading into our discussion of the day today, that is in line with artificial intelligence. Of course, I have a quote here from Dr. Larry Marshall. He is the chief executive of CSIRO, who said that artificial intelligence has the potential to transform economies, unlock new societal and environmental value, and accelerate scientific discovery. Now, of course, that is very true. I would agree with Dr. Larry Marshall in line with that, because when one of the vice chancellors of a renowned university, that is Victoria University, when he came out and mentioned, I'll kind of align his quote to that of the vice chancellor, where he said that if Uganda doesn't act in time, and actually he was urging the president, and he said, Mr. President, if we don't act quite urgent about artificial intelligence, why we get to find out. Now, another fact that we need to understand, still in line with artificial intelligence, let's take a look at the International Monetary Fund report here that clearly said that 40% of the global jobs are at risk due to artificial intelligence. And he said that the International Monetary Fund further went ahead and said that advanced economies face higher risks, yes, but are better positioned for artificial intelligence benefits. I'm starting up this discussion with this particular line because I'm heading somewhere. Now, taking a look at the global impact, 40% of jobs worldwide are at risk. That is of the global impact. Now, for advanced economies, and this is strictly for advanced economies, Uganda, we are getting there, but we are not yet there. 60% of jobs are at risk. 60% of jobs are at risk. That's quite a huge percentage. And of course, for emerging and developing nations, less exposed, they have fewer opportunities to capitalize on AI, and so many more, as we can actually put it out there to see how the facts really are playing out. So these are strictly facts that we need to understand, most especially when it comes to the developing countries like Uganda. Now, like I told you earlier, that artificial intelligence has to be governed, and Europe seems to be setting the center stage of establishing these particular regulation frameworks in that line. Now, artificial intelligence is transforming industries, that is across the board, as leaders definitely recognize the technology's potential to improve the connectivity, productivity, enhance creativity, boost quality, and generate new solutions. This has created quite a surge in demand for artificial intelligence. So there is quite a huge demand there, and in particular, what we call generative artificial intelligence. Like I said, the advantage with countries that stand a huge risk, which we saw at 60% of developed economies, the countries that stand a huge risk still have the biggest chance to benefit from the opportunities that are going to be birthed by artificial intelligence. Now, the question is, many times we are worried about this, but I've come to realize something here during the course of time, that actually artificial intelligence might create more jobs than compared to what jobs are going to be lost. Why am I saying this? We are seeing quite a number of young people globally, that is from Africa, East Africa, the world at large that are participating into artificial intelligence related courses, and they are actually performing quite incredibly okay when it comes to this space. Because if we talk about artificial intelligence, in just a brief, of course, when the expert comes in the business insight, we shall have what a general definition of artificial intelligence. But what I can say, what you need to know is that artificial intelligence survives on data analytics. So that means we have what we call data science, because this data is analyzed by the use of algorithms. Yes, algorithms, which manipulate this data to come up with decisions, that is based on the possible outcomes, based on the different entries that are being put out there, and all determine the possible outcome which might come from there. So, sorry, that is something to really take into huge consideration. Now, AI is already subject still to applicable regulations that focus on more than just the technology itself. Now, for example, laws focus on privacy, anti-discrimination, talking about liability and product safety. Now, in addition, artificial intelligence focused regulatory activity is expanding. We've had instances, most especially with the participants in the entertainment industry in the Western world, that have actually been huge victims of AI-related fraud. Of course, in that morning call, when I was making an introduction, I said that the Bank of Uganda clearly came out and said, no one you will not be protected from AI fraud. So I think it's a personal responsibility of protection. Don't wait for the state to protect you in that line. In the first place, let's be wise on how we use this artificial, how we use this artificial intelligence. I was having a discussion with one of the developers, and he told me, Andrew, be careful with as you interact with artificial intelligence, because in most cases, the data that you feed this might be used against you at some point in time. If you find yourself at a time you're at the airport and you're going to get a visa to go to any country, it could be Britain, it could be Canada, it could be the United States of America, or any country of your choice. So that data might, because of how you interact with artificial intelligence, might kind of hinder you to access opportunities, and that is quite key. Because what I know in most cases, as human nature, we are always inquisitive to find out how these new technologies really work. I know of people that are trying to actually relate with AI as a person. I mean, they are trying to ask personal questions. Little do you know that actually all this data is stored somewhere in a database. So, as much as we talk about regulations, regulations may not actually be the key issue, but the wrong use of artificial intelligence could actually be the actual issue. And who is responsible for that? You as an individual, you are responsible of how you use this. I understand these legal regulatory frameworks will be put in place, but if you don't have the self-control to regulate yourself on how you use it, it will impact you and you will miss out on possible opportunities in any field right there. Now, in 2024, this very year, as we speak, the European Union's Artificial Intelligence Act, or the EU AI Act, was finally passed in law. That is after years of debate and anticipation. Of course, lots of discussions were put, consultations, from the top lawyers globally to see how this can go about. Of course, with the anticipation of the possible outcomes. Now, like the General Data Protection, that is regulation, that is the GDPR, we expect it to influence many similar laws in other regions of the world. Now, AI has been discussed by policymakers worldwide, and it was mentioned in legislative proceedings twice as frequently in 2023 as in 2022. Now, in some cases, the regulatory activity is definitely is explicitly focused on generative AI, such as China's interim administrative measures for generative artificial intelligence. But like I mentioned before, something which I really think we need to take quite very serious. I know AI is being emphasized, the students are being emphasized, but the regulations based on the European Act, if we are to compare them with the regulations from the African setting, won't there be a hindrance in development? Because we've already seen what AI can actually do, most especially in renewable energy generation in Kenya. Kenya is definitely taking the responsibility, the initiative to explore this. So imagine we have strict laws in terms of that. Because I think if we let this be, this is just my opinion, if we let this tech spread the way it wishes to, if we realize the dangers it poses, we as the human nature, we actually stand a huge chance to regulate ourselves, where we don't need an extra regulator to come in and tell us how to use artificial intelligence. We have used it, we've seen the impacts, we've seen the results of it. We know that if I use it this way, I'm taking the wrong direction, and if I use it this way, I'm taking the right direction. So the regulation bit. Now, taking a look at these legislative measures, there has also been an increase in AI-related standards. Activities across jurisdictional collaboration, of course, exemplified by initiatives driven by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Now, the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, that is the United Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, that is the International Organization for Standardization, and the Group 7 are definitely taking these initiatives. They are the people that are championing, actually. These are the agencies globally that are championing this regulation strategy. In 2024 still, we saw an increased focus on AI safety, with the launch of the new AI safety, new artificial intelligence safety institutes for the expansion efforts that are being driven by institutes in the United States and the United Kingdom. We're talking about Singapore and Japan at the same time. Now, also the new European Union AI office established under the EU AI Act will focus on developing best practices in that line. Now, we can also expect this growth in the volume and variety of AI regulations and standards to continue for the foreseeable future, as policymakers grapple with how to manage the artificial intelligence generated risks. Now, of course, zeroing this down to what Uganda will actually see, because when the people that were so vocal about this particular discussion came out to, say why Uganda needs to leverage on artificial intelligence. If we don't leverage on artificial intelligence and we instead focus more on regulating artificial intelligence, what does this really mean? It got me scared because there is a huge chance that we might experience massive brain drain. Why? Because the AI opportunities, because we know that, because every person actually wants to be part of the AI. Why? Because it pays a lot of money. You're earning, recently we saw a report of one of the famous companies, that is NVIDIA, where employees' annual salaries go up to $100,000 to $200,000 annually. And seeing that assistant managers, field engineers earn about $45 to $100 per hour, So with this, attractive salary, it's going to lead to brain drain. Lots of young people who actually hold the future of developing this economy through technology will be driven out of this country. Why? Because they're heading into the greener pastures, which have opportunities which they have studied. Why? Because we have focused on regulation. That is something that I think we should really think through. We're seeing industries like people that are into the loan industry, the financial institutions that give out loans. By the use of artificial intelligence, you are able to determine someone's credit worthiness. Many times you go to the bank or you go to any given online institution to borrow money and you want a specific amount of money. But if they are to review your credit rating, you're not worth that money. And that comes with a lot of, research that is done on you. And this will guide the money lender whether I give you my money or not. Because if you come to me, you want the money, and I don't have your credit background profile, how is it going to be easy for me to give you this money? So with artificial intelligence, this is quite possible. In farming, we are seeing its ability to detect weather, possible weather outcomes, and this guides the farmers when to plant and when to harvest. So we are seeing all these other possible opportunities that we are actually missing out as a country if we say that we are focusing on regulating artificial intelligence. I think it's still having a fertile ground to breed across this country, Uganda, and the participants really stand a huge chance to see this. Like I told you, in the judicial system, proposals were definitely already there to incorporate artificial intelligence. Tanzania is already doing this. Kenya is also already participating in this. So the question is, if Kenya is looking at using artificial intelligence to generate power, Tanzania is already incorporating artificial intelligence in the judicial system. What do we have as Uganda for artificial intelligence? What are we saying that we are leveraging on artificial intelligence to execute a given task in a certain sector? But we seem to perhaps have an upper hand in terms of leveraging on artificial intelligence, most especially in the education, when it comes to education. We are driving that to some degree, but we anticipate for the best, because it seems like before it's too late, we need to be part of the early adapters of artificial intelligence, despite the fact that it's been spread all through the time since its inception. And of course, we see, as I wind up this report, the artificial intelligence governance standards trends to watch out for. As from today onwards, we shall be taking a look at increasing AI regulatory activity, new methods for organizational and technical self-governance, growing need for skilled professionals, taking a look at advancements in open collaboration. All of these are key trends to watch out for, most especially if we are discussing the regulatory space of artificial intelligence. Of course, we don't know yet what it can possibly do. We are still exploring every other day, but let's get ready for a surprise. I always let life surprise me. So let artificial intelligence surprise us in some kind of a way. Well, it's exactly 24 minutes past 8. Why don't you allow me to take a break for now? And of course, when I return, I'll be getting into what is happening into the sports and also entertainment at the same time. Let's stick around.
Smart 24, driving business.
Oli mukyala munna bizinesi era oyagala bizinesi yeekulaakulane, gavumenti ya Uganda ekuleetedde ssente za Grow era nga weewola okuva ku bukadde buno okutuuka ku bukadde 2 n'osasula mu bbanga lya myaka 2 ate nga gw'asasula mu budde olina mukisa ddala. Eri abakyala abanoonyi b'obubudamu nammwe abaliko obulemu, enteekateeka eno egenda kubakolako mu ngeri ey'enjawulo. Okumanya ebisingawo, tuukirira Post Bank, Equity Bank, DFCO, Centenary Bank, Finance Trust Bank ne Stanbic Bank, oba genda ku mukutu gwaffe ogwa www.grow.go.ug oba okujja ku ofiisi za PSFU ku Kyaddondo Road e Nakasero ku kizimbe kya Trust Tower omwaliiro ogusooka, oba okuweereza obubaka bwa WhatsApp ku nooti 762 3 nooti 49 omukisa guno gw'abakyala bonna okwetooloola eggwanga era ng'enteekateeka ya Grow evujjirirwa banka y'ensi yonna n'eteekebwa mu nkola Ministry y'ekikula ky'abantu ne Private Sector Foundation Uganda.
Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises. Jordan. When it comes to classwork, Jordan is magic. Jordan shines. Jordan makes his peers better. Jordan is a true leader. White Star Magic family. Be a leader. Be magic.
Uganda fire! Endiva fire! Abambona fire!
Uganda! Thank you for showing your fire! Has Nambole Stadium opened its doors once again? You were moving in where you were the 12th player when Uganda Cranes needed you the most. Now, as Uganda Cranes take on South Africa on the 6th of September, and on the 9th of September, we got the Queen number as our boys play Congo Brazzaville. Buy your tickets today at 25,000 shillings cash or 20,000 shillings using Momo. Simply dial *165*20# or download the Momo app to get a discounted ordinary ticket. The gold ticket is at 50,000 and platinum is at 150. Let us support the Uganda Cranes because together we are unstoppable. Proudly brought to you by MTN, the #1 supporter of Uganda Cranes. Together, we are unstoppable.
When it comes to unboxing the biggest and best shows on the planet, we've got plenty.
Go ahead.
Yep, we've got loads of this, buckets of that, and bags of those. There's smart stuff and fun stuff. The best under the sun stuff. Far places and spaces. Car races and chasers.
Paw Patrol is on a roll.
Yes, we've got heaps of absolutely everything ready and waiting for you to unbox. Only on DSTV.
Smart 24, driving business.
Hello tech lovers, the Pixel tablet is here. Is Google back? Wow, we could all be asking the same question, but the Pixel tablet launches today into a field more crowded than ever, priced at £599. It's got the same chip as the company's flagship Pixel 7 smartphones, an 11-inch screen and a bunch of applications optimized to take advantage. But the standout feature is the dock, which you slap the tablet onto with some powerful magnets and effectively transforms the device into a home hub. You can see information like time and weather, have it cycle through photos, play music from the inbuilt speakers, control your lights, and its Hey Google voice assistant is always listening. Given that ever more muddled space between smartphones and tablets, Google will hope its decision to have it flat with the smart home market proves a masterstroke. Considering its history with new products, we will all know in about 2 years. Google has a history of killing off products that don't set the world alight. From its Stadia gaming platform to its previous Pixel tablet, it hopes its latest effort will find itself an audience by studding the line between the tablet and the home hub. As smartphone screens have gotten bigger and laptops more powerful, tablets have gone through something of an identity crisis. Once pitched as an obvious middle ground between the computer in your pocket and one on your lap, the thinking behind them seems increasingly muddled. There are iPads for people who want a keyboard and powerful processor, and those who want a small screen. Samsung, unfortunately, occasionally with a stylus, makes tablets while also making phones that fold out into screens even bigger than some tablets. And don't forget, Amazon's various Kindles and Microsoft's array of Surfaces. If your head is hurting because of all these features, then you're definitely not alone. As someone who recently helped research a newly family tablet purchase, it's more difficult than ever to know which models to choose from as your use cases vary so wildly. But that hasn't stopped Google from developing the latest Google Pixel tablet, which comes with a twist. But can it find an audience?
Start24, driving business.
Yes, we'll be back from the break. It's exactly a few minutes, 28 minutes roughly. That is to the top of the hour. And we are still, of course, we've been having amazing discussions all in line with regulating artificial intelligence. But of course, at this point in time, we are getting straight into what is happening into the world of entertainment briefly to see what is transpiring there, taking a look at the movies business, music business, the movie business, and so many more related aspects there. So as I'm heading straight into my business into entertainment, I'll get straight into currently. There has been actually a huge concern, most especially in terms of the content direction in the big studios all across the globe. Many of the viewers have been very observant and vocal in line with this specific shift, in the content that is being produced. I remember last time when I was mentioning, and I think this should be quite a huge example, most especially for the Ugandan movie makers to pick a leaf from, that so many times the content direction of these movies, what should really govern this content direction, most especially for a country like Uganda, and most of them seem to have all these, mixed up cultures and all this. And in Uganda, we seem to not have really gone so much into this. And this explains why, for example, I'm just giving an example. In Hollywood, most of the movies that are actually produced, the biggest markets that consume these movies are Asia, Africa. Actually, we are one of the biggest consumers of these movies. And now, when you cross over to Europe, the biggest market for most of the European movies is actually, the Europeans themselves actually don't watch those movies, but they would rather prefer to watch movies from the United States of America. So why are we seeing all these adjustments? Because in many times, I think for any project to be really successful in a way that is quite evident, we need to get into the aspect of seeing the domestic push. If you have the domestic push, definitely this will push your project to heights that you may never even imagine to that line. So that has been actually quite a huge concern in that line. And I think as Ugandan movie makers, as these movies are being made, this should actually be a huge concern and a huge discussion if we are to see some developments that are coming in different perspectives. Of course, today we are talking about artificial intelligence, and like I told you, we have seen how it has impacted different industries. And now let's take a look at how AI is transforming the entertainment business, definitely. And like I said, it's all wide through, taking a look at music, movies, creatives, and so many more. It could be placed as something all in that line. Yeah, I'm still I'm reviewing a certain report here from The Economist, taking a look at how artificial intelligence is actually being impactful. Recently, we had the rapper Drake that almost lost millions of money when one of his songs, actually an AI song, was created using his voice. We also saw this in Uganda happening, where Radio's voice was actually made by artificial intelligence, and actually they were able to make a full song still in relation to this. But Well, in Uganda, it's not really that rapid. Morgan Freeman is one of the victims that have actually been into this, where there was a podcast that was put online recently. It's not so long, and I don't think it's more than 3 months ago, about 2 or 1 month ago, and he came out publicly and said that podcast wasn't him. It was rather someone else that used his voice to kind of makes money off his craft. So something he really decampaigned with a huge, with a lot of passion, So it's happening. Now, coming to the film industry, we are having scenarios where certain movie scenes, because I'm thinking about artificial intelligence and computer-generated imagery, computer-generated images, how these are going to, come into interaction. Because in future we shall have a time where movies can be acted, but the actors are not necessarily perhaps essential into these movies, but they can get figures that look like them. Maybe the only aspect that might be of benefit to these actors is that if you use my image into your movie, you definitely have to pay me some money. You have to put down a penny for me to because you're using my image across there. If we are to look at it from that line, so it's quite posing to be quite a huge threat from that line. Well, now let's look at the perspectives from the Global Entertainment and Media Outlook. We are looking at between this year and 2028, in other words, in the next 4 years. Now, in 2023, the entertainment and media industry recovered its balance in the face of economic headwinds and technological disruptions. And of course, taking a look at the total revenue rose by about 5% to about 2.8 trillion United States dollars in 2023, and of course, easily outpacing overall economic growth. Now, over the next 5 years, we see that the E&M complex will grow at more muted 3.9% CAGR. That is in 2028. That is total revenues will top up to 3.4 trillion United States dollars. Now, in aggregate, in the industry's ship, it seems to be. If this industry was a ship, it seems to be sailing through calm seas. That is on uneven keel. But the surface is definitely continually roiled by cresting waves and deep thoughts, with dangerous shoals and reefs lurking everywhere, disruption presenting opportunities and risks, which continues to break over the sector. Now, the linear value chains are disaggregating as we move into the world dominated by the digital ecosystems. Now, the content boom driven by rapid streaming growth has come to halt, as generative artificial intelligence is promising to deliver efficiency and productivity gains while powering new ways of doing business across and between multiple industries. And it all adds up to widespread uncertainty. Now, in PwC's 27th annual CEO survey, it was revealed that about 57% of the E&M CEOs, compared with the 45% of all CEOs, said their current business path would no longer be viable in about 10 years. But the good news is that in 2028, of course, we still have a long way there, an additional 597 billion United States dollars in revenues will be available for the industry, for the entertainment and media industry participants, compared with 2023. And of course, remember, you are in Uganda and you're thinking, how does this really apply to me? Remember, this is a global outlook. So how are you going to participate for you to be part of the $597 billion? What is your portion? Are you taking $50,000? Are you taking $100,000? What is that? Of course, that is all a decision for you to make from that line. Now, the Global Entertainment and Media Outlook 2024-2028 definitely provides a compass for leaders as they navigate that is the coming years, and it serves as a comprehensive global guide which segments and markets will grow, which will founder and which are in danger in sinking. Yes, in sinking as companies reinvent their business models. Of course, they have to understand precisely where, in which regions, and in which sub-sectors new pools or revenues will come from. And of course, there has been an identification of 4 major areas of opportunity. Yeah, so it's quite a huge report in all this perspective. But as I wind this up, this broad advance of ad revenues definitely underlines the wide opportunities for the entertainment and media players. Of course, addressable measures, ads delivered on TV screens will become a vital contributor to the revenues of direct-to-consumer online video providers. Now, online connected TV ads, which are served during video programming, are projected to definitely double from $20.5 billion in 2023 up to $41.2 billion in 2028. Now, of course, the retail media players are increasingly experimenting with shoppable TV advertising, which makes it possible for consumers to buy products direct from ads on television and on videos at the same time. Well, I think I'm going to wind this up at this particular time, but I'm coming back shortly with my guest as we explore the regulation of artificial intelligence in Uganda. Stick around.
Smart 24, driving business.
Hello tech lovers, the Pixel tablet is here. Is Google back? Wow, we could all be asking the same question, but the Pixel tablet launches today into a field more crowded than ever, priced at £599. It's got the same chip as the company's flagship Pixel 7 smartphones, an 11-inch screen and a bunch of applications